welcome to this week's episode of the Cryptonaut podcast. I'm Mark Storrs, and with me, as always, is
Grass Sally
and
Rob Morphy.
Top of the show, be sure to rate and review this podcast on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. It helps us out greatly getting our rankings up in that area with Apple. The whole logistics behind it is completely clouded. It's conspiracy theory within itself, but
Absolutely.
if you leave a rating and a review, if we get so many in a short period of time,
I know,
it
that's
helps.
the deal.
So thank you. Thank you very much. Real quick, we're going to have a correction of a name. I believe we pronounced this woman's name as Ajia or Ajna.
And probably Ajida. I think we went
it was
down.
Ajida,
I think
yeah.
we went down
guys-
a rabbit hole of
guys did.
mayhem because obviously our grammar is suspect.
But luckily,
Of course.
she hit us up on Twitter, and it's really simple. It's Adya.
Or is it Adja?
I think it's Adya.
See, now we're down a second rabbit hole, not quite as deep, but just as inconsistent. Because I got to tell you this. We were reading this before pod, debating amongst ourselves whether it was Adja, which sounds really pretty, or
course.
Adja, which is actually just as
I don't think
pretty.
there's a J. There's just a
No,
ya.
it's just
Or
a ya.
Adja.
Yeah.
Adja. I'm sorry, it's me.
Adja or
listen,
Adja.
My beard weighs my tongue.
Either way,
my tongue
that
malforms
flows much
sounds.
better. That's a nice name.
I mean, yeah, she was very nice actually to send us the proper pronunciation
Yay.
on Twitter, and we still were like, okay.
Because we're idiots.
Yeah, exactly. We're like,
Well-
Adya or Adya.
Our
Adja sounds
alphabet
better.
has many vowels have many sounds.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
we don't exactly know.
We are a slave to vowels.
Yeah.
Let's blame vowels.
Yeah.
From here on out.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, by the way.
Yeah.
For
You know
your
what?
comment.
We're gonna make
Appreciate
it
it.
real simple. We're gonna call her Addey.
Oh, that's adorable.
There you go. Because actually, Addey coincidentally happens
Addey.
to run the Monsters Among Us Facebook group,
Which is super dope.
which is super awesome.
Nice.
Derek's a super cool dude, good friend of the pod. So check that page out. She runs it. She puts up tons of really cool articles.
Excellent.
Like every day, she puts up articles, and she actually posts up stuff from our website, Cryptopia.
Oh, bless your heart.
Which is super cool. So
That
she
makes, you know
pushes
what? I
that.
liked you before. I like you thrice.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Okay, and we have a new review coming in too. I'm just gonna scan my
Oh,
thing.
by the
here and see
way,
if I
in
can
case
find
you
it.
didn't know, our habit is if you send us a review,
We're gonna read the review. There you go.
boom, shalak.
So I found this actually on Castbox, which is a podcast player, and this comes from William Barnes. He says, "This is a fun podcast. It feels like you're just sitting around talking with your friends, but the information is there too. I definitely recommend it for anyone who likes cryptids and laughter."
Oh,
Yay.
that's
Thank you
adorable.
very much, William.
That's actually that's a
That's
legitimate
spot
statement.
on.
And
Cryptids and laughter.
And we don't know William.
No, we don't.
Not that
He's
our,
not. He's not a
that-
dear friend shilling
Yeah.
for us.
Not that our friends' input doesn't count, but
Yeah.
you know,
No, I mean,
cool.
yeah, a stranger
Yeah.
getting it is a very nice feeling.
Yeah, and also too to tie it back into the Monsters Among Us Facebook page, William is on there as well. Group, and he does really cool crypto art.
oh, sweet.
Well,
Yeah,
fucking
he did
A.
a cool. I'm pretty sure it was a Godova demon I saw, and I definitely saw a Space Penguins of Tuscumbia one that he did. That
You
was
gotta love that.
really cool.
That is the
So-
most fun thing to draw. As someone who's drawn it, yes, and yes.
The
Yeah, so you
deal.
And that will be a later pod, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
actually, we're going to be doing that pod next. So check out William's work over there on that group. So that's going to do it for our reviews interlude, I guess, the way to start the show.
Sure, why not?
Okay, so let's move into a real quick correction that we have to make.
I take umbrage with the phrase correction,
Well,
but we're going to let this ride.
Not a correction, but we're going to call this an addition to the story.
Addendum.
An addendum.
Supplemental.
That's a great
Captain's
word.
log supplemental.
Oh, Stardate.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. This is going to be going all the way back to our Enfield Horror episode. I don't actually have the episode number.
I think it was just like two.
I think
ago.
was it 2?
3, 4. I don't know which
You
number
just
it
put
was.
out
We literally just started doing this.
Yeah.
How do we not know?
Anyway, the Enfield Horror, there was a piece that we missed in the Wikipedia entry, and it has to do with one of the witnesses in the story recanting what they said. So here's what we got. And again, also, too, this comes to us from a listener who was kind enough to point this out.
Thank you for that.
Yes. And with this stuff, if we do miss anything,
No, we always want to. Now I'm gonna use supermarket for a second. We always want to update our personal archives because we're obviously genuinely passionate about this stuff. We love these stories. We love them not only for their pop culture appeal, but also just because they represent real eyewitness accounts. So the more accurate it can be, the better. So we always welcome anyone that can feed us new information.
Yeah, if there's anything that we may have missed or anything to add, always feel free to contact us, and we'll make adjustments as we go along. So this is the adjustment for the addendum for the Enfield Horror story. Again, this is from the Wikipedia. Investigators interviewing nearby residents were told that Greg Garrett, a 10-year-old neighbor of McDaniel, claimed to have encountered the creature half an hour before McDaniel did.
Yeah.
And that the creature had stepped on his feet, tearing his tennis shoes to shreds. The boy later told Western Illinois University researchers that his report was a hoax, and to quote, and this is a quote from Greg Garrett, to tease Mr. M and to have fun with an out-of-town newsman. So what happened is the University of Western Illinois did a research study on this
Mass hysteria, basically.
Basically mass hysteria. We didn't get into that because it's not really a part of the overall story that we were covering. So apparently Greg Garrett is interviewed and goes back and is like, yeah, I'm making this up. So
all right, so
there's a couple things
There's a
there.
couple
there are a
things.
couple things.
Yeah.
Let me say something first, then you guys do.
Okay.
The first thing I want to say is, how long later? It's not even a thing. It's just a thing. How long later was this Northwestern University? And I know grads, fine establishment. I'm just saying, how much later was this interview conducted? And here's my big beef, and then I'll let you guys talk about it. Could you please reread the quote from 10-year-old Mr. Garrett?
10-year-old Mr. Garrett says, I just lost it. The boy later told Western Illinois University researchers that his report was a hoax, quote, to tease Mr. M and to have fun with an out-of-town newsman.
Okay, period.
Yeah.
All right, I'm no expert in mid-Illinois 10-year-olds in the 70s. I'll know that. But to have fun with an out-of-town newsman, to me, smacks of something you are told by an adult. And here's where I play devil's advocate. I have no evidence to back up this assertion. People will say I'm a true believer and maybe an idiot, and I'm fine with that. And that is this. No family, especially a family, 40-something years ago, is going to want to live with the day-to-day ridicule that comes with seeing an inexplicable monster.
Yeah.
So just assuming if this creature actually did have a run-in, even if it only stepped on his feet and didn't actually shred his keds, and he tells his parents, and he's like, no, I see what the McDaniels are going through. And for more information, please listen to the Enfield Horror podcast. But I see what this other family's going through in terms of local ridicule and, mass mayhem. I'm going to make my kid, through threat of beating or whatever, and maybe they didn't beat their kid, but just through threat of punishment, recant his story.
Yeah.
That smacks to me of you're repeating what an adult says, and what family wants to be stigmatized by seeing a 3-legged, bloodshot-eyed, gray, hairy, mayhem-ridden hopper?
Yeah.
70-foot
No,
hopper.
I agree.
Come on. So I can't debunk it with facts, but what I can say is we have to be very, very cautious as people that are investigating these things to take the skeptic's point of view just as just as much of a grain of salt as you take the eyewitness point of view.
Yeah,
I really loathe
yeah.
that people will take the eyewitnesses and be like, I don't know. But anytime someone's skeptical comes on and said, I wore that Bigfoot suit in Bluff Creek, or I took pictures of Nessie and it was really my forearm and a sock and a tube sock and it was painted and it was awesome.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
100% authentic
The
every
tube
time
sock.
because it's a skeptic saying it. I'm just saying we have to maintain a balance.
Okay, and also, too,
Yeah.
when...
But but his account was first, right?
Yes.
The Garrett account.
The McDaniel account was
Or no.
reported first, but the Garrett
Right,
kid
okay,
claimed
that's what
his incident happened about a half hour before.
That's exactly
Right.
okay. That's what I wanted to clarify because
Yeah.
he claimed
Garrett,
it was before.
Garrett claims that it was before. He also claims that his shoes were shredded. And I'm pretty sure I remember we were talking about, what if Lauren Coleman had the bloody shoes of Greg Garrett?
Yeah.
So his shoes were shredded. There was never any harm done to his feet. It was never recorded that his feet were
torn up or broken, or he had to go to a
and
hospital
I
for
think
stitches.
I'm pretty sure we discussed it in the episode. It's kind of weird that the kid gets his shoes shredded, but whatever claw is shredding his shoes is not digging into his flesh.
Yeah,
Right.
And I think that it even said this kid's kind of dubious.
But in all fairness, if you're a 10-year-old kid and you see an unknown 3-legged monster stamping on your feet,
Right.
in your mind, it might be just, and I know I sound like an apologist here, but you might this thing was tearing my feet apart.
Yeah.
It was a living nightmare.
Yeah.
And who knows?
Well, regardless,
I know.
I think the thing he said later is really dubious. And I wanted to poke fun at an out-of-town
True.
journalist.
I could kind of see a
Really?
10-year-old kid
Who
doing
says that? I couldn't have said that at 10.
No,
We were all bright 10-year-olds.
No, that's why there's things. I mean, the fact that came out, but then the fact that's why I wanted to clarify that it was claimed it was before, not officially reported before.
Yeah, because
that's
basically
that's a huge.
What
difference.
it sounds like is that McDaniel has his run-in with the Enfield Horror. He reports it, and then this kid's like, "Oh,
Yeah, but like earlier in the night,
I shredded my shoes," and which
and that's
from
a possibility.
from a kid's point of view, I have kids. I could totally see a kid doing that.
No, that's you're right.
Which doesn't by any means discredit Mr. McDaniel.
No.
At all.
Or his children.
Well, and
who were mortified.
And we've talked
Yeah.
about this a couple of times. We've been trying to find actual quotes from the kids.
But in all fairness,
For some reason, there's nothing
I
from
can
the
speak
kids.
with a little bit of authority as a former small town reporter, and that is, you get in there, you're not looking to win a fucking Pulitzer. You talk to the key people,
Right.
and if the kids are already in bed and the parents just want to talk to you, you're not. I mean, there's a difference between an investigative journalist that's going to wait outside all night when the kids go to school the next day. What'd you see? What happened?
Yeah.
And somebody that's literally just trying to make their deadline and get it in because it's a weird cultural color story for the
Right.
local paper. And I was one of those guys. Trust me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If they talked to Mr. McDaniels and maybe his wife, they didn't need to talk to the kids. They just heard the report, went home, printed it up. It became a bit of a thing because in the 70s, if you saw a monster, it was crypto crazy back then.
Right. And again, we haven't covered the Western Illinois University research study that was done on this, so a lot of what we might be missing might be actually located in that.
I don't know about that. Because, of course, there's going to be rumors and hearsay. Maybe someday we will.
Yeah.
I've looked a little bit into it, not great in great depth, but of course they're going to suggest mass hysteria and like this sort of contagion of ideas. And
it's
it happens.
really interesting.
And it means that people will bend the truth. And when a story, goes down the rumor grapevine, of course it evolves. That's human nature. It's not good. It's why human beings make horrible fucking eyewitnesses and always have.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we talked about that.
But that doesn't change the veracity of the initial report.
No,
right.
No, it doesn't. And as far as Greg Garrett making it up, Rob has his opinion. I think Chris and I have our opinion about it. Whatever.
It's not an opinion. It's just we're just throwing that. Nothing's changed.
I'm playing devil's advocate as much as anything.
My take on McDaniel's claim isn't changed at all by this kid saying he made it up. I mean, whatever. Can I see the kid making it up? Totally. Does it change the story? No.
But could you also see the kid maybe being influenced to say
he
totally,
made it up? I can see his parents being like, we can't deal with this.
This means you have to marginalize and asterisk the kid's testimony.
Right.
But like you just said, very well, in fact, you can't dismiss entirely the event, especially as told from the McDaniels point of view.
Yeah, no. And I think it's fairly common, I think, in a lot of the stories that we're going to be going over, that people later come out, I mean, it's kind of notorious in cryptozoology, that people later come out like, yeah, I did the surgeon photo, or yeah, I was the guy in the Bigfoot suit.
And then the media gloms on
exactly.
and says, that's it. That's 100% the truth.
Now,
it's debunked.
The reader that sent this to us, he's going to
remain anonymous?
Yeah, remain anonymous.
Is he a deep throat source?
No.
Codename Falcon?
He's a
codename Falcon.
We could codename him. Actually, he's actually a pretty cool guy.
There's nobody on Earth that does not want to be codenamed Falcon, for the record.
Exactly.
If somebody called me codename Falcon, I might just change my name legally.
Okay, I had 2 minor exchanges with him on Facebook, which is my world is talking to him, so I'm going to codename him Falcon because he seemed pretty nice about everything.
Sweet.
He did have a pretty interesting take on this, was that this narrows down the witnesses for this to McDaniel, saying that maybe this lends more of a supernatural bend to the Enfield horror, which I think is obviously
it's something you got to be open to
in world, in this wide range of cryptozoology stuff. The paranormal stuff is always a possibility, but
the rows I go in are this.
Well,
it's always,
I think before.
No, go ahead, Chris.
Even if you exclude the Garrett account, it doesn't change the other account. So for me, those options are still always on the table.
Yeah, no, totally.
It doesn't change anything.
No, I agree.
For me,
because
that
it
account is
doesn't
still
change
that
a
account
word of what the McDaniels said.
Yeah, right. So I just want to preface.
Yeah,
and I agree with what Chris is saying. But let me just tell you from my point of view the order in which I would study any phenomenon like this. The zoological, not the cryptozoological, so that just means unknown zoological, as we all know.
Right.
The zoological, is this an animal? If it is not, is there any sort of ufological element to it? Did somebody see lights? Is there something strange? Could this be some sort of extraterrestrial biological entity, which still implies zoological, just foreign to Earth? And then third, and a distant third for me, which is not to say I disparage it, but just because when you get into this realm, it becomes wide open. It's magic and or the supernatural and or the paranormal.
Which, with most of the stuff that we cover, eventually it will get to that point, like with the Sky Spitter, or with Jellyman. Where we're like, okay, we have to start with the most logical, and then we have to go to the cryptozoological, and then we have to go to the chaos magic Aleister Crowley land, where these are incantations.
But once,
Yeah,
but
which
once
is
you go
really
there,
just a
it's,
part of the
I know.
process, really.
it's
No,
kind
I
of
know.
a pit. It's hard to get out of because once you go to magic, it's like then
Exactly.
You're
But-
there.
But it's not necessarily magic.
But it is a part of
That's
the
a long
process of
conversation
what
that
it-
we can have
Yeah,
what
no,
it could
we
be.
will talk
Yeah.
about that.
Right.
We don't disparage the supernatural paranormal. I can't speak for Mark or Chris at all. This is Rob, by the way. I just want to go there as a last-ditch effort.
No,
I really
right,
want, I want to
right.
exercise every scientific option
Right.
before I get to the point where, all right, this goes beyond the pale.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not
totally.
saying that the Enfield Horror isn't an ultra-dimensional being. I'm not saying that.
You don't know that.
But what I'm saying is,
Oh,
is that it's
right.
definitely something was there.
You're not saying he's not a minion of the old ones.
No.
I'm not.
That if it, but
I'm not.
Fits
I'm
the
not.
description.
So there's a correction for the Enfield Horror.
Is he the Silver Surfer for Cthulhu?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
he's the
Oh
harbinger
my
of the
The
God.
harbinger
yeah.
that comes,
Well,
checks out Earth
30 years later,
this
40,
something
50
we're
years
well,
later.
who knows how long it takes an old one to get here? 30 years might not be anything, but like a blink of their eyelash.
He's like a tiny Zool tripod.
Dude,
Just kind of
exactly.
shows up. Yeah. So there was our
his non-Euclidean
our-
cities in the sea waiting to rise.
Oh goddamn! All right, so
And
let's
madness to
let's
ensue
get
if you
on
look
to
at
our
it.
current pod.
All right, so there was our
Jeez, all
correction
right.
/ addition to the Enfield Horror. And again, if you have any more information or corrections or
Love it.
additions
Yeah.
to
We
send,
love it.
please send.
If you're a descendant of the McDaniels and you have a secret something,
Yep, a plaster cast.
I know.
I'm not taking incantation off the table because you know why? You never take incantation off
no,
the
as a
table.
matter, I throw it out there a lot.
No,
Actually,
you are the incantation
Spells
master.
and
Yeah,
elementals
exactly.
and-
There you go. I tend to go towards ultra-dimensional, but that's just me. So this week, we're checking out.
We got
Something
a
kind of
twofer.
fun.
We got a double
It's
twofer.
going to be a twofer. This
It's
is
like
kind
a
of fun.
double header, but the second game is going to be abridged.
This is also kind of a little
Yeah.
weird.
Well, yeah, it's definitely weird.
A little
the way we
scummy.
like it.
A little bit.
I'd agree with
A little
that.
scummy. A little scummy. So this week we were checking out the Charles Mill Lake Monster, which is located in Ohio. In 1959, 3 young men from Ohio claimed to have a face-to-face encounter with one of the most bizarre creatures ever to emerge from a murky lake bed. An encounter so brief and perplexing that even most cryptozoologists don't know what to make of it.
Well said.
Ooh,
So, may I continue?
sweet
Please.
preamble.
Ah, it was nice. That was preambling as the Dickens. All right. Nestled between both Richland and Ashland counties, I'm going to give you a sense of place here in case you didn't know, in central Ohio near the junction of state routes 430 and 603, we're giving you very specific directions, is the boggy Charles Mill Lake. The reservoir was constructed in 19 really? I did that. I had to imagine.
We've been getting concerned about Rob and his onset
boy.
over
All right,
here.
it's all right.
I don't know,
I'm a
man.
little- I'm a little more
Getting
seasoned.
You need to get you some ginkgo
Yeah,
biloba.
it's true. 1935, excuse me, by damming the Black Fork and Mohican River with a barrier that is currently 48 feet high and in excess of 1,390 feet long. Known for its voluminous catfish population, you know that means anglers love it.
Cats.
Yeah. The lake is also said to be home to an utterly unique and ostensibly amphibious creature, the likes of which has only been seen once and is quite unlike any other animal on record. The single inexplicable encounter with this creature occurred late in the evening of March 28th, 1959. Excuse me, March 28th, 1959, dude.
Ginkgo biloba.
Oh. When 3 friends, and it's great, we have their names. This is not like a random anonymous thing. Wayne Armstrong, Denny Patterson, and Michael Lane were cavorting. Enjoy that.
Cavorting?
Well,
That's what you did, though, in the late 50s.
We have
I
the
guess.
author of this article
Right here.
with us, Mr. Robert
so you can ask me a
Morphy.
question and I will explain it.
So, cavorting. What was your...
Here's my beef with this.
Okay.
There was 3 teens.
Okay.
They were hanging out, basically. They were just hanging out on a dirt road,
Wayne,
killing time.
Denny, and Mike.
Yep,
Yeah.
Wayne, Denny, and Mike.
All right.
And I was trying to come up with the perfect word
Yeah.
when you don't know what they're exactly doing. It didn't say they were drinking beer.
Hanging
They
out.
certainly weren't practicing their breakdancing moves yet. It's 59
Maybe.
after
Yeah,
all.
no.
They might have
Switchblade?
been- Yeah, they might have been
Practice?
practice switchblades.
Switchblade practice?
Any way you
Well,
cut it,
dude,
I just
looking
thought
for a dead body. That's
they're
what he did in
essentially
59.
yeah. Well, if you go by stand by me,
Cavorting,
Yeah.
for our terms, they're cavorting. Near Ruggles Road. Ruggles Road, for the record, is brilliant. Which was adjacent to the swampy area near the man-made lake. Killing time, as bored teenagers are wont to do, the trio never expected to have a run-in with the dripping horror that was about to infect their perception of reality.
It's dripping.
Boom. Dripping horror. Doesn't that give you that nasty
That's
taste
gross.
in your
Yeah.
mouth?
Yeah,
That's
it's gross.
Lovecraft in a way Lovecraft never
It's
did.
Return to the Living Dead zombie in
Yeah,
the,
it's
in the
Tarman.
container.
I don't like
Tarman.
anything
it's
dripping.
gross,
Yeah, no,
drippy,
dripping horror is
nasty.
just a bad scene. Although, I'm sorry. Although the name of the first eyewitness to the entity known as the Charles Mill Lake Monster, can we agree that really needs a better name?
Yeah.
For the record.
It does, yeah.
Although the name of the first eyewitness of the entity known as the Charles Mill Lake Monster is lost to history, it seems that there can be little doubt that the attention of all three youths were captured by the sudden gurgling that erupted from the dark water mere feet away from the shoreline. Patterson, Armstrong, and Lane's natural curiosity quickly transformed to horror as they watched a strange 7-foot-tall being rise up from the foaming water. The boys, petrified in virtual immobility, stared at the colossal creature as it lurched onto land, heading directly for them. Here's where it gets fucking spacey. Now, we're all expecting maybe some creature from the Black Lagoon.
Originally, yeah, well...
Or something, because if someone tells me a creature comes out of a lake, 3 teens in the 50s see it, I'm going to go to classic cinema versions of
creature
Gilman.
Or whatever. The creature from the Black Lagoon.
But, I mean, it rolls enough to where, they saw it and watched it rise to 7 feet.
That's weird.
For me, halfway through, and I see a body.
I see eyes.
Ow.
Yeah. It could be a carp.
Out.
Dude, an extra big carp, and
if
I'm
I
gone.
see the water bubbling, I'm gone. Dude, Frankenstein in the window. Mark is out.
Yeah.
See ya.
Well, bubbling could
Robbie
be
Chris,
anything.
Good luck.
Okay,
You're
I'm not
fucking
even
merman food, dude.
Just I've seen something that looks like a head. Anything rising.
You
I don't
get
care.
out of there, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? Good on them. They had the fortitude and the goddamn American spirit.
The guts.
The guts.
The American guts.
They had the what is it called? The
Gumption.
The moxie.
gumption. Yeah, the moxie.
The
They had
moxie,
the
the
moxie to stick
gumption.
around.
The chutzpah.
We're going to the soda bar later, but we're going to see what's going to come out of the
Soda bar?
water. Yeah, they go to soda bars and shit.
I don't know. What were they called?
It was the 50s.
It
People
wasn't
were
called the
dumb.
soda shop? I don't know.
Let's hit the sock hop.
People were
Yeah.
stupid in the 50s.
All right.
All right, continue.
All right, so
rad.
whether it was
Sorry.
because they weren't as
50s
smart as
people.
us and or had so much more American moxie that they remained to see all 7 feet of this thing.
They clearly did.
Here's what they described. A huge, armless,
No.
humanoid
See?
beast with luminous green eyes and this shows you how fully this motherfucker got out of the water, large webbed feet.
So it's got feet but no friggin' arms.
It's got no arms. So I always
So
thought it was
wait a
kind of a
minute.
cucumber with
Yeah.
flippers and big giant green owl eyes.
Why a cucumber though?
Why not? I don't know what else it could. Maybe not.
Just a body.
It could be a
without
body.
arms.
But I'm telling you what I saw.
okay,
Yeah.
but
Pickle Rick.
I know. Yeah, I know.
That's what I saw.
You're looking at I know. You're looking at Burger Time.
I know, and I'm the
pickles
first
from-
to admit I'm probably wrong, but that's what I see. I see a giant pickle with webbed feet
All right.
and glowing eyes.
I feel like I know what it is, but I'll
almost
save it for
kind of
later.
reminds me of like a mud puppy.
A 7-foot
Well,
mud
but don't
puppy?
they have limbs? Mud puppies have limbs.
Well, they do, but they keep them to their side.
Do
so
they?
yeah, when
But-
when they
but-
come out,
As Chris said.
they can put the two
Chris,
down.
would you care to repeat what you just said? But a 7-foot mud puppy?
Yeah, 7-foot
Come
mud
on
puppy.
now.
No. I'm
And
just
they'll walk
saying
on
it
their
could
hind
sound
legs,
mud
kind of
puppy
like
paws.
a mud
Yeah.
puppy.
All right.
It could be a giant 7-foot mud puppy.
But fully erect, standing on back legs, marching on shore, terrifying teens?
Well,
No.
that's the other thing. Whenever I hear an account that says it rose,
doing the merman.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Get to
but
the
it rose from the water.
sock.
But then we were able to see it. So how did it? Did it rise in a motion picture style?
Yeah, if
and
it
then
did.
Jesus its way to land.
What if its feet flipper? It's like,
You know what I mean? So that's
and
some, like-
it flippered with its feet, and then it got to the.
Or it was more. It was like
I'm
it
assuming it was
crawled, so it looked like
walking,
it
yeah.
rose.
Well, it had.
You know what I
feet.
mean? It was walking.
That's what I assume. What Chris? Now, this is an assumption. We all
Yeah.
have to make assumptions here, because the eyewitness report is really what is passed down through newspaper reports of what will eventually be a police report. We'll get to that in a moment. I have to assume it was walking because they found
Right,
prints.
right.
They eventually found prints. I'm giving a little foreshadowing here. So this thing
was
either
just
had
walking,
no arms or
right.
had its arms behind it and they just
Yes.
weren't visible, or they were tiny little T-Rex
Tiny little
arms
flappers
and
or
nobody
something.
knew.
Yeah, right.
Like a mud
Vestigial.
if it's like
Right.
a mud puppy, now, I'm not saying it's a mud puppy, but the same way that a mud puppy keeps its shit to its side, and then when it gets on land, brings them out.
Yeah, when it gets on land, it brings it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ergo, this is
Yeah.
not a mud puppy.
No, I'm just saying the mechanics of said mud puppy of keeping the arms to the side.
Bless your heart and your mud puppies.
I'm just saying the mechanics.
So wait a
not
minute.
saying it's a 7-foot
Did it
mud
say
puppy.
what time this happened at?
Evening. That's
It
all
was
we
evening.
know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that means it
All right,
So it could have been backlit by the moon.
twilighted.
Oh yeah.
We don't know. We
It's
don't know
cute.
how they saw
It's
it.
cute. That's how love happens.
Right.
Well, yes,
didn't
backlit
know
by the
that?
moon. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
how love
But
happens.
it's funny, like like literally, it's coming. By the time it's there, like you're noticing features. So like you're literally like staring at it.
Right.
You're looking at it from head to toe. You're taking the time to see it as glowing eyes, no arms, and webbed feet.
You got to figure.
You know what I mean? Like you're like doing a scan.
Right. If this thing is 7 foot tall, though, weight-wise, this thing has got to weigh a friggin' ton.
In excess of 400 to 500 pounds.
Yeah, a lot. A lot.
Is that what it comes in at? Really?
Nobody weighed the fucking thing. This is a speculation. Thank you, everyone. I didn't weigh it.
I don't want to say this thing is 700 foot and 500 pounds.
Well, I think
it's a fucking
for
bison.
like if you think like the Big Show from wrestling or whatever, he's like 7-ish.
Yeah,
and he has arms, but
he does.
Right,
complete with arms.
And if you're just normal, kind of a big size, you have to be at least.
I would think 4 to 5.
Right. Yeah,
that's what I would think.
Okay, so regardless, this thing is huge.
Yeah.
At 7 foot tall, it comes out now. Legs, so it's got legs, it's got feet, it's got no arms
that they can see.
And it's looking at them. What happens
large,
next, Rob?
luminous green eyes.
Okay, what happens
at
next?
this point? They do what all sage people would do. What we would do. What I think most of our listeners do. They get the fudge out of Dodge. They get out of there.
Dude, you got a book.
Okay.
And here's what lends a little bit of credibility to this tale, in my opinion. The trio immediately went to the police to report their encounter. Now, here's something. We've all seen weird shit. Nothing like this. Nothing in the caliber of this.
That's F and the B,
But
definitely.
when you go to the police, I think there's a good chance you saw something that scared you. Because, maybe it's part of your civic duty to warn people because it could be dangerous. But more likely than not, you want to be protected. You want to be protected. It is the 50s. But there were still juvenile delinquents.
Good sir. We've seen a creature come from the pond.
They were just combing their fucking hair with combs.
But maybe these kids were more like, maybe they were more like geeky kids.
Maybe they were.
Like three geeky kids hanging out. Like,
I know.
Geez.
I just picture them like, hey, man, we're going to fucking
combing
their hair and be sweet.
Because you're doing knives and shit.
I know. I picture.
Was there a musical?
There should be.
Tell me more.
No.
Was he 7 foot tall?
Tell me more.
Where are his arms? Tell me more.
Where are his arms?
Oh, nailed it.
Did he have green fucking eyes? I'm throwing swearing in there. Yeah.
No, it's super grease.
This has got to be reality. They said F words and then.
Nah, back in the 50s, they didn't. They were all scared of Hitler coming back.
That is not true.
He was in Argentina.
They knew he was dead.
No,
now
they
know
did.
better.
They were like throwing Yahweh and all the pledges and money.
Yeah.
All right, so besides our McCarthy-era politics, can we get back to the monster?
All right, come on, you communists, finish it up.
After they reported their encounter to the local authorities, they made their way back with said local authorities to the reservoir to see what the entire hubbub was about. They discovered a series of tracks. This is a quote that resembled the footgear worn by skin divers.
Real quick.
An old-timey phrase if ever there was one.
Skin diver.
I want to put this out there. I read this. I'm like, skin diver?
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Of course, you're young. You're a child.
Skin
the
diver.
divers of the skin.
Yeah.
An ancient brotherhood.
So I had to Google.
I know, right?
I Googled skin diver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scuba.
It's a scuba diver.
It's a fucking scuba diver.
It's a fucking scuba diver.
I know. It was the old-timey.
I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm like, you know what?
Because it's a weird
I
name.
expect full nudity flippers. That's what when I hear skin diver, I expect dinkies in the current and fucking flippers kicking.
Just naked with a pair of flippers.
I didn't even think about
Maybe
that.
goggles, flippers,
skinny
and
diving,
bush and balls.
I know. I didn't even think about that.
Because they're skin diving, baby.
Yeah, skin diving. That's funny. I know. I didn't think about
if you have
that.
a tank, you're naked and you got flippers. You're exposed to everything.
It was the 50s. Enjoy it.
Oh,
that's true.
God.
They're like, smoking is good for you.
Yeah,
you're immortal.
Yeah,
smoke for long enough and you become immortal.
I don't know. Maybe like the term like frogman or something. Like wasn't it like a branch of the Marines or something?
Absolutely.
Like frogman? Yeah.
It was a G.I. Joe figure at some point.
So I'm an idiot and had to Google skin diver.
Well, bless your heart. So. Now you've explained it to everybody, and it's a good thing.
I like your idea of them being naked. That's kind of funny.
Despite this apparent confirmation that something large with webbed feet was skulking around the edge of the lake, there were no subsequent reports of this armless beast with glowing eyes until 1963. But it gets a little twisty here.
Okay.
Because it's not the same thing. This is where we get into our twofer. This is why this is a drive-in double feature, because this invariably leads into an entirely other cryptozoological phenomenon.
All right,
because they live in the same place, but they ain't the same thing.
Also, too, we should make a note here that the location of this is actually 100 miles from where the Loveland Frogmen were spotted.
of our second episode fame
Ohio apparently
are riddled with aquatic monsters.
Is a hotbed for these things.
Oh, there were all, especially in this from the 50s to the 70s, they were awash in. You didn't go near water. You were afraid to take a bath in Ohio. In the mid 50s,
they have access to a big lake, as we mentioned,
rivers galore,
a big ass
and waterways,
supreme lake, a great one, if you will. One of 5 greatest lakes.
Yeah, so it kind of makes sense that maybe there would be a central location for aquatic enigmas.
Aquatic?
To make landfall.
Aquatic? What'd you say?
Does that aquatic, right?
You say aquatic.
Would they make landfall, or is that weather? What makes landfall?
What makes I can't even get into that. Hurricanes and armless beasts.
If it's a frogman or...
That's not a question.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that.
What makes landfall?
If it's a frogman or if it's a Charles... If it's
Manson?
the monster, like if it comes on land, what are they doing? They're emerging from the depths of the water, making landfall.
Okay.
Coming to land.
All right, yes, the monster...
All right, so
for Mark's sake and Chris's sanity...
Oh my
the
God!
monster made landfall.
I'm not the one that came up with the naked man's diving. Okay,
it's
skin diving. I know.
Come on,
I know. It's not. It's not out of.
All right,
so
let's
get
go
on to
1963.
Okay, so
now
fast forward a couple years.
Famed cryptozoologist Loren Coleman, who wrote in his book Curious Encounters in 1985, he's the one that kind of homogenized these two events into like one creature because they were seen in the same place. They're not. Because what was described in 1963, at least according to Coleman, is an 11-foot tall, so that's a good solid 4 feet.
Yeah, that's tall.
Hair covered, over 1,000-pound bearing, apparently according to eyewitnesses, critter known to locals as Orange Eyes.
So this sounds more like Sasquatch territory.
Absolutely. So you've got, all right, first off, as we've discussed in other pods, and we'll certainly discuss again, a lot of the things that make me concerned when people talk about luminous eyes is that it's not either bioluminescence or other things that would naturally glow. They are reflections of either, say, the headlights of the kids' cars or a flashlight or whatever people see it with. So a lot of animals have very reflective irises or whatever the thing is on their eyes. And please, if you're a naturalist or biologist, correct me on this. I know I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know it reflects light. And it helps them see in the dark, you know? And so... I'm at loath to assume that their eyes are naturally fucking glowing like an Aurora model from the 1950s, like Frankenstein glows.
Does
in your
anything
room.
in nature have glowing eyes? Because I'm going to say no.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, things that are like deep in the abyss where James Cameron
I'm talking
hangs
about
out.
like land based.
I just don't know. I mean, I
don't
know
think
fireflies
does.
have glowing asses.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, I don't I can't think of a mammal that would have glowing eyes. It doesn't exist.
I don't know. I can't say de facto that it doesn't.
I'm going to say that it doesn't.
It's a fairly uncommon occurrence.
Yeah.
So,
because how terrible would that be?
This thing is clearly different. A glowing-eyed thing.
A mammal. Yeah.
Oh, it would suck. And you know what? People would instantly get it. They'd get their like scleras injected with shit so their eyes could glow. So they could be like fucking
like eye tattoos.
Team Addey or whatever.
Go.
Yeah, I used a Twilight-ish reference. I don't even know if I said it right. So, all right. So this other thing that was seen in '63 is clearly an 11-foot tall, hair-covered Bigfoot thing.
1,000 pounds.
Well, at least. Probably maybe more. You don't know? How hulky is it? Because this is like Sasquatch from Marvel fucking comics. 11 foot is obscene. Like when I was a kid, it didn't matter.
The size of this thing's fucking heart. Could you imagine that?
You can't pump with Earth's gravity.
No.
Not efficiently.
Actually, I don't think you would be able to, honestly.
Well, I mean, elephants, I guess. Other things can, but...
That's an 8-chambered heart.
It is an 8-chamber. It's double.
Large 8-chamber heart.
That is Andre the Impossible.
It's got the Doctor Who double heart. I'm sorry, Time Lord double heart.
Time Lord double heart.
No, Doctor Who. It's not just a Doctor Who.
Other Time Lords.
It's not just the Doctor Who.
Other Time Lords have double hearts.
But how weird is this? I'm going to get into this orange eyes phenomenon, which there isn't as much on. But just while I'm talking about this, let's all ponder how bizarre it is to have fucking Pickle Rick, armless fucking flippered glowing eyes,
7 foot tall
aqua monster of a full 7 foot tall, intimidating enough.
Yeah.
In the water, occasionally coming out to terrify you, while skulking around the forested hinterlands of the shore,
is a friggin' Sasquatch.
Is an 11 foot tall, essentially a Sasquatch. First off, that's a place I would hang out at all the time, but I would never want to be there alone at night.
Yeah, I don't know. All right.
So, It bears noting that the Charles Mill Lake is allegedly the stomping ground for another terrifying beast, which, ironically, is also said to have a pair of iridescent eyes. I don't know if I used that word right. I don't care. The creature in question is
iridescent.
A large hairy hominid, which is said to have been driven out of its sewer tunnel homes near Cleveland's Riverdale Cemetery. Sorry. I went Archie Comics, Riverside Cemetery.
I got really excited. I'm like, Riverdale
I
Cemetery.
know. That was a total fuck up. That was wishful thinking on my part. Riverside Cemetery in the 1940s. So apparently this thing lived in a sewer beneath a cemetery, Riverside, in the 1940s. They tore it up to do some poltergeist shit, put some suburban homes. Craig T. Nelson was pissed.
Oh, of course.
The monster had to
He
leave.
saw maggots in his cheek.
You moved the stones, but you didn't move the bodies.
You didn't move the bodies,
He
did
was
ya?
so mad.
Puked
And it was
a worm.
raining out, and he was screaming.
Well, his family was in
Go
jeopardy.
inside and yell like a
Well,
man.
it's all right. You can yell at your boss.
where I
when,
yell,
when
is
the dead are
inside.
concerned, you can yell.
When the neighbors can't hear.
Yeah, but at that point it was too late. Like
That's true.
he was on his way.
Yeah,
they
the
were
house is about
dealing
to
with shit.
implode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like, get the fuck out. Black hole house.
Oh,
Black
true,
hole house.
All right.
This
We're getting off topic.
ostensibly
Anyway.
filthy beast was notable not only for its immensity, but for what eyewitnesses claimed were its glowing orange eyes, hence the designation Orange Eyes.
Derp.
The next recorded encounter with Orange Eyes occurred on April 22nd, 1968. It was said that a group of children spotted the beast near the Charles Mill Lake Park after dark and took chase armed only with flashlights, baseball bats, and rope. Because you're gonna do so much to an
These
11-foot 8-man with fucking 1,000 pounds of muscle and hate.
I know, but I
did
feel like
Orange
that's,
Eyes run from the kids with the flashlights, bats, and rope?
Yeah, bats and rope, man.
He took off?
He did.
Man.
Though I'm fairly confident, had he not wanted to take off, that would have been a massacre that we'd be talking about to this
But you know
day.
what? Those are some ballsy ass kids. Because when you see something that's 11 foot, 1,000 pounds, and you're like, hey, Chris, why don't we go get some baseball bats, some rope, and a fucking flashlight and
I
go
know.
beat the shit out of
Rope
you?
what are you
always seems
gonna
like
do?
a good idea, though. Because it's like...
Because your dream as a kid, most kids, I don't think,
What do you do with
naturally...
rope?
No, but
Oh,
listen,
tie his
you
legs
tie
up.
it up.
Yeah,
Most
there you
kids
go.
don't dream of
What are you
killing
gonna do with
things.
rope? You
They
know what
dream-
you do with-
They dream
But-
of capturing things.
Exactly.
And getting
That's the
fame
deal.
And notoriety. Saying, look what I have achieved. Look what they don't want to murder. You know, the Jeffrey Dahmers. They want to murder the things. Most kids just want to maim and
Dahmer.
capture.
Yeah.
It's
No,
the healthy American way. Maim and capture.
I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer wants to, like,
No, he didn't want to
behead
tie
this thing and
anything
have
up.
sex with his dead body.
You don't know that
No,
for a fact.
right. The average kid just needs the rope that you need. That's, you know...
All right, so
or
it's
at least
like-
to keep it at bay.
Right.
Like, psychopaths go for the fucking... Like, yeah.
All I need is a scalpel in my dreams.
Just imagine,
Right.
imagine being the kid that is so cocksure with the bat that when you hit this thing, it spins around and it rips your 11-year-old fucking head off.
Oh, well, that's
And
why
then your friends
being
are
young
like-
and stupid.
Billy's dead.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Yeah.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
No, they're very lucky this thing
But
was
hey, good,
temperate.
you know what? Good for these kids. They have bravery.
They have courage and immense amounts of
I would do
stupidity.
tridents and nets, like the old gladiators.
The tridents and
Because
nets.
you get a long thing,
I know, you
right?
poke it. Yeah, you can poke it, yeah.
It's like fucking bugs in your house. There's the bug, and you're like, what's the longest fucking thing I can do to incapacitate this asshole bug?
Yeah. And you have your glass cleaning spray that you spray your bugs
Yes.
with. Yes.
But I use that just because I feel like if I hit it with
Right.
glass cleaner, then it can't stink. You know what I mean? It
Oh,
coats it.
that's a
and
good
it things.
idea.
So I
yeah,
figure if
oh,
this,
it coats it. Yeah, it gives it a
yeah,
nice
and
protection.
it's like, oh
Okay,
no,
yeah.
what do I do? And then it drops, and I
Right.
fucking kick its ass to your domain.
To my domain.
I flush it, so
you send it to me. Oh, good.
You,
good.
you get the stink
Good.
bug.
Then I got there's quite a lot of stink bugs. So
Yeah.
good on these kids. Way to do it, kids.
Yeah, no,
Congratulations
they thought
on
about
not
it.
They're
dying.
lucky
Yeah.
if they were able to breed because they should all have been parts in trees.
Yes.
Let's be
Okay.
honest.
So continue, Robert.
The final recorded encounter with this creature was said to have taken place in June of 1991. So we're talking
Whoa.
68 before we were all born. 91?
So
we
68,
were frolicking.
68 is the stupid kids
91.
trying to attack it, and
Yep.
then we get to
and
91.
then it wasn't seen
okay.
again.
All right.
When the creature presented itself to a pair of anglers who were fishing near Willis Creek, these horrified and apparently anonymous
Willis.
eyewitnesses had the good sense to allow the beast to disappear without pursuit. So unlike
It presented itself?
the little kid, it just showed itself across the
It
river. or
comes
something.
out of the woods. Hello.
Hey!
And then,
Hey, guys!
I know.
well, they just look at it like, oh fuck, it's an 11-foot, 1,000-pound, I don't know, orange eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I imagine the thing got lonely. It's like, man, the last time I came out, there's a bunch of these kids. Fuck them. I almost had to kill them. But this is going to be different. I'm going to put myself
Yeah, this
out.
time-
I'm going to present myself.
I'm going to put my best foot forward. And
I'm going to wear
goddamn
my
it,
slacks.
I'm
my
a
good slacks.
I'm a good
Oh,
person.
yeah.
Now,
My
everybody's
vest.
Good slacks
Put
on.
his good
Yeah.
slacks
I know.
on.
This
His
is
sweet
definitely
vest.
a vest monster.
yeah,
It puts
button
the
down
vest
shirt.
on.
Yeah.
An LL Bean vest that it stole from someone.
Something.
Or
Waved
quartered
his
them
hair.
and took it. Yeah.
He came out and said, I'm putting the best foot forward.
Okay, so this thing shows itself to fishermen, and the fishermen, there's obviously like no standoff, no violence. They just kind of
No,
like
they
shit.
saw it and they got
there
out.
it is, which is the smart thing
Sage.
to do.
That's what adults do. What kids do is arm themselves with silly shit and run into the dark.
That's
what
yeah.
adults do is say,
That's why I
hey,
love kids.
fuck
Kids
your
are
rod,
great.
Billy.
I
We're
know.
out. Let's split, and they do.
All right, cool.
Probably grab their beer. Who knows?
Hey, you leave it.
No, yeah. If it's life and death, you probably do.
It's a gift. It's a Sasquatch
Yeah.
gift.
Yeah.
More coming on that
So
later.
here's something. Here's where the skeptics have gone with this, and this is
Okay.
a funny part of the story. Although most witnesses agree that Orange Eyes is an ape-like creature, there are some skeptics who make the dubious claim that this beast is nothing more than a... Anyone care to throw a guess? Let me do it.
Okay.
Fanatical hermit who has for the past 50 years
Oh.
apparently fooled locals into believing this creature by nailing 2 orange bike reflectors on a stick and waving it around the woods.
There is a 0% chance any of us. I thought you were going to say some weird form of Sasquatch or
No,
something.
like
a
No.
super moose.
It's
Yeah,
literally it's a homeless dude and or hermit living in the woods with sticks with reflectors, being like, "Fuck you, kids! I'm coming to get you, you
Oh
sons
my
of
god!
bitches!"
It's a fucking Ben Kenobi going.
yeah,
totally.
It is. It's fucking Ben Kenobi in the Tatooine Sea.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's great.
Oh
Okay,
my
but
god!
If the skeptics are saying
hermit.
it's a hermit, I mean, okay, that,
With bike reflectors.
on
In
a
all
stick.
fairness, he has tech.
Do they
That's
have
just-
reports of there being a homeless person and or hermit in the woods?
That's a good question.
Because if they were like, oh yeah, no, Todd is known to go into the woods and be crazy during the fucking spring.
To address Mark specifically, there are no reports I've stumbled across of Crazy Todd.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean Crazy Todd's not there doing his thing. As we all know, Crazy Todd's wants to
Could be
do.
great. I know.
I mean, it could be Gerald.
I feel like if there was,
Yeah,
I
right.
feel like there'd be more accounts of that if that was the case.
It's just weird that they're like, it's a
Yes.
hermit in the woods.
I also feel like there wouldn't have been like a
No, that's just a there's
20-something year
Jesus.
gap between sightings if
Right.
fucking Crazy Todd was out there with his reflectors
maybe
doing his
he-
Yeah.
duty.
Well,
Maybe
unless he
he
just
had-
was homeless within the year.
Maybe he
Yeah.
had
True.
homeless or hermit kids. And they continue
they
the
passed
tradition
on
of
the
dad
tradition?
of scaring the locals with their sticks.
Son, it's my legacy. When I'm dying here with tuberculosis in our hobo tent,
Okay,
take it.
so the first one was the original movie,
Hobo tent.
and then the second one's the sequel.
Yeah, where it's like Saw, where Jigsaw dies of cancer and the girl takes over, but Jigsaw's not that. He's back.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
dude.
and then the girl.
I'm
that
not
doesn't
going down
have
this
cancer.
rabbit hole with you. I have no idea what you're talking about. I saw
I'm
the
just
first
saying
one.
that my question with this is if they're saying it's a hermit in the woods, that there has to be a reason for them to cite, oh, it's someone in the woods, almost like people had encounters with a hermit in the woods.
Here's my thought.
Yeah,
if they
but
had
I don't know,
specifically
man.
found said
should have
hermit
taught- they should have-
with
yeah.
said stick, with said bicycle reflectors,
Mm-hmm.
then they would have said, the police later found
Right.
a hermit in the woods with this.
Because it almost sounds
They
like
didn't say that. It's just what skeptics are saying. Maybe it's probably just some bum with a fucking stick and some reflectors. And it's like, well, all right, if you're going to say that, you can say whatever the hell you want.
I love your Ohio accent.
That is
It's
not my Ohio
so
accent.
Yeah, no, that-
true to
that
form.
is,
I don't even know what that is.
We got a goddamn bum in these woods here.
Bum with a
With
stick.
reflectors.
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense.
That, which, by the way, is
Yeah.
my favorite cryptid.
What's
Bum
that?
with a stick.
bum with a stick.
Someday we'll do the story about Bum with a stick.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Okay, but there's another angle, Robert.
Yeah. let's
Tell
hear it.
us what we have going on next.
Well, if things didn't get weird enough, it is worth mentioning that on October 18th, 1973, outside of Mansfield, Ohio, there was a bizarre green beam emitting UFO that had an alleged encounter with what eyewitnesses reported to be a military helicopter above the Charles Mill Reservoir.
Son of a bitch, it all comes
It
full
all just
circle.
didn't you just
Dude.
feel the fate sealing?
All right.
It just happened. You've got the 7-foot
Armless.
large armless
Aquatic thing.
skin
Yeah.
diver feet thing. You got Orange Eyes, 11-foot, 1,000
Few years
pounds.
later.
Possible hobo in the woods with bike reflectors on a stick, and then what
Possible.
shows up? What shows up?
A UFO.
Exactly.
What's it shooting out?
A beam.
A beam.
What color is the beam?
Green.
Damn straight.
What's it fighting?
The the government.
Hate. It's fighting hate.
Racism.
I know.
I like how you were like, it's fighting for
Justice.
I know.
American way.
I don't know.
What if it's fighting for the WWE belt? Okay, so this thing is cited. I'm
The
just saying.
Intergalactic Championship
Yes,
belt?
exactly.
Oh, I could support
So,
that.
you know what-
I would like to see.
You
I
have
honestly wouldn't mind
green
seeing
beams or tractor beams.
the Charles Mill Lake Monster versus
Wait a minute.
Orange Eyes. Orange Eyes has the height and the weight clearly,
Right.
and the arms.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is
All right,
fucking...
so Orange Eyes already
Well,
won.
wait a minute.
Yeah,
No,
this
But
thing
then
has no
then
arms.
Andre the Giant could fight smaller people and still lose.
Who's to say the
Yeah, but I mean-
the Mill Lake wasn't like a baby?
Oh, it could have grown.
Oh, maybe some sort of like metamorph, like what is
Like
it?
a larva.
Yeah,
Not even
what is it
just
called?
just a fucking baby.
Is it a larva or is it a what's the metamorphosis thing they go through? Is it
Pupa?
yeah, whatever, like a moth.
We all went
To
to
a
8th
flame?
grade fucking
Oh my
biology.
God.
I have no idea. Like a moth to the flame.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. It
Whatever.
cocooned out.
Yeah,
No,
no.
I'm just saying it could be the baby
It
version
could
of
be
the
baby.
of the.
Yeah, but the whole UFO angle is interesting because it shows up over the reservoir, green beam, military helicopters. Now, how many?
Right, but it was years later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it's kind of an interesting
Green
take on it.
beam.
I mean, this place is kind of cool.
It is cool. It would be
Like-
worth visiting just because there's 3 distinct and separate phenomenon
Yeah, dude.
that, whether or not they are real, have been reported, and that is an aquatic monster, a Bigfoot-type monster, and at least one UFO sighting that had a run-in with
Yeah.
a military helicopter while it was fighting injustice. I've decided it was injustice.
I mean, that's kind of like that's the try. All you're missing is ghosts.
but are you? We just maybe haven't
yeah,
dug
that's true.
deep enough.
Maybe there are ghosts like the headless horseman of
Charles
Mill Lake
Reservoir.
Yeah, just shows up.
There's just a headless horseman everywhere.
Yeah, just like a
I feel like
a ghostly headless kid in a bike.
Oh my God!
Watch for traffic.
Decapitated
Yeah,
by the fucking hobo.
See what happens when you don't look both ways.
Only you can prevent forest fires. Like, why is it fucking talking about
Why
forest fires?
headless though?
Smokey the Spectre.
Oh, fire bears! Look out for fire bears! I know.
If there were fire bears in the woods, if someone just saw
That
that
was
was a bear and then it erupts in flames and books.
Oh my God,
past
it's a
you,
fire bear.
I would be so happy.
All
Why
right,
aren't
so-
there fire bears in real life? Damn.
No, don't.
No, you're right. Because
Yeah,
I
Don't
don't
throw
want to
it.
be on
Don't
fire.
throw it out there
No,
because
don't
now
into the
something
universe. You're right.
something can make
Okay, so
it.
what could this possibly be?
What could they possibly be?
Yeah.
Is the real
What could they
question.
as far as the eyewitness
All right, let's go right back.
reports,
Let's go right back to the first account.
Okay.
Of the 3 kids, Wayne, Lance, and Charborough. I don't remember their names anymore.
Is that a Pokemon?
I know. I don't know.
Seriously, what the fucking
Charizard,
Yeah,
Stanley, and Squirtle were walking down the street.
Squirtle.
All right.
No, like 7
Wayne,
feet
Denny,
tall.
and Michael.
Okay.
Wayne, Denny, and Michael.
Denny's, Michael the Archangel.
Yep.
And
Wayne Armstrong.
Wayne Kramer. There you go.
yeah,
We're sitting by the lakeshore, cavorting or
Okay.
not.
the lake
So
shore.
they're saying it's 7
And
feet
they saw
tall.
this thing erupt from the water.
It's
They
got no
estimate. I mean, I don't
arms.
think they measured it. I think they're just
Okay,
guessing.
so let's right now.
Okay.
Nothing comes out of the water
At
that's
7
7 feet tall.
No. Nothing we know of. Certainly
Well-
nothing oceanic that I know of, and
No.
absolutely nothing freshwater based.
If it was by the off chance someone scuba diving,
All right, so a 6'6" scuba diver.
Armless scuba diver.
But he might not be armless. Maybe he just put his hands behind his back.
yeah.
You would.
And he's wearing a slick
know.
wetsuit, and he painted like day-glow shit on his goggles.
Right.
Okay, no.
All right, yeah,
no,
I get, that's it. That's the only
That's
thing
the. I mean, that
Yeah.
would work.
But that's
There's nothing
stupid,
else
and
that's
that's
clearly
clear
come
cut.
out.
Yeah, I know.
happened.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying,
Okay.
in the rational realm,
All right, if we have to go
and
rational,
let's go rational.
If we're going to get $1 million
A tall-
for making sense of
A
this,
tall scuba diver.
It would have to be a
a
human.
tall scuba diver
tall
with his
scuba
hands
diver
behind his
with his hands
back
behind his
and a
back, yeah.
feigned
Which
goggle.
actually, if he was coming out and he was decompressing his tank, if he had his arms behind his back adjusting,
What was he
isn't
doing
there-
night
isn't there
scubaing?
a thing on the
Yeah.
bottom of
Well,
air
yeah,
tanks?
but
Nobody.
I mean,
and nobody.
I'm making the motion. You see what
Yeah,
I'm
I
doing?
see what you're doing.
Nobody.
I'm decompressing
the
my tank.
I
Listen,
feel glad.
nobody scubas off the shore. They go out like on a boat, and then they scuba.
Good
Nobody
point.
just walks with their full gear onto the beach going here.
Amateur,
just walks into the
amateur
water.
mistake of the scuba diver.
Yes.
Of the
Yes,
7-foot
indeed.
scuba diver.
Oh, you need
okay.
a boat? Blah.
Jesus, the
At
guy,
night.
he just walks out and gets stuck. He's like, son of a bitch.
I know. I fucked it up. All
right, so it's not a scuba diver. I think we can all
No,
agree.
I don't
sure
think
it's
so.
not a
They
It is not a freaking scuba diver.
or at least the dumbest one of all time.
Yeah, it's really, really challenged. Like,
Unless the hermit had
doing it
mad gear
wrong.
that we didn't know about.
Yeah,
dude,
and his
what if
arms got
the-
bitten off that very moment.
What if it was the hermit going scuba diving looking for some form of treasure?
Treasure, treasure, right?
Treasure.
Treasure.
Oh, God, I don't know.
Oh, he's looking for Krugerrands?
Oh, my God. Everything's lethal weapon,
I was going
too.
to say, it goes right
It's
back.
never not that.
All right, so,
Okay, so-
there's
I
nothing
just-
I can think of that's
No,
No, I
legit
can't,
that can be
honestly.
this.
And
No.
even from like a, I guess, a biological nature type of thing, there's nothing that's going to come out of the water at 7 feet tall with no arms.
Yeah,
Or even out of the
5
water,
foot
really.
4. I mean, let's be honest. We can shrink it down as much as we want.
Yeah,
I mean,
a bipedal thing out of the
Yeah.
water
Yeah,
is
it's not
And
not
if it was
happen,
like a
yeah.
walrus or something that somehow got thrown in that lake, first off, people would found it and know, and then secondly, they wouldn't
walrus?
describe it like.
Jesus
I'm just saying some weird thing that could be a
What
lumbering
type
mess
of
that would come
asshole
out.
steals a walrus or just has a walrus and is like, fuck this
Just
walrus,
allow-
and
It's
throws
just
it in the reservoir?
It's on its tail. It's like
fucking
last
dick.
ditch effort.
What a
Like,
dick move.
recognize me, please. No. No, and it doesn't.
That gets into like Grampus territory.
All right,
where
fuck
it's
you
like,
guys.
Did somebody put a dolphin in a tree? That's
Why
a
did they do that?
penguin.
That's
It's
a
goddamn
meme.
I know.
penguin.
It could be a deer fetus in the stratosphere. What?
It could be a deer fetus.
How to get there?
God damn it. We don't know what
We don't
it
know
is.
what. We have no
I
idea what it
know.
is. There's no. I can't figure out what
I
this thing
know.
could be.
It is not an armless walrus. I've been laughed out of that theory.
because
I know.
I didn't really think of it. I was trying to be absurd. God damn it,
no,
guys.
you're right. You're right, though. Like, I know. Like
All
a
right, let's
fly.
move on to orange eyes.
okay.
We're talking
again. Okay,
straight- all right,
11.
but,
Okay,
but
put-
mid-Ohioan, 11-foot tall
that's
man.
well.
But
no.
put into perspective 11 foot. I mean,
Yeah.
your ceilings are what, 10 feet?
Yeah. Well, a floor is 10 feet. Like
Okay.
a given right.
So
a
a
floor.
foot above that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
stupid.
That's huge.
It's absolutely ridiculous. You
Yeah.
can't be that big and be
But-
accepted by society.
And I think at some point,
No.
point in this podcast, probably down the road, we're gonna most definitely have to broach Sasquatch.
Of course. I look
It's not
forward
that-
to it. It's a big because
it
that's a
is,
big chunk
but-
of chew.
No, it is,
Yeah.
but it's not nearly as cool as like the more lesser known cryptids that we're doing. The more
No, the
more
weird stuff is
offshoots.
always delightful.
No, but there's new angles and there's new things.
Yeah,
Sure.
Which we were talking about earlier,
yeah,
actually.
which goes back to Bigfoot.
No, Nessie
gifts,
and the
yes.
Squatch will get their day.
So, but generally speaking, without getting into a Sasquatch history lesson, are Sasquatch around 11 feet tall?
Sometimes, rarely, very rarely. It's more between, actually, you'd be surprised, the 6 foot, which is reasonable human range,
Yeah.
to about 8, maximum 9. You definitely do get reports that seems bigger, but you have to remember, too, these are eyewitness reports. And when people are losing their mind with terror,
absolutely.
Yeah.
it's like, it was 11 feet tall. It was unbelievable.
Right, you're not staring at it, like trying to
He punched
gauge.
Paul Bunyan in the balls. He collapsed.
It was a misplaced walrus on
Paul
its
Bunyan.
tail, wanted to be
Do not
recognized.
throw the walrus in my face again, or this is
The
done.
walrus is going to come up continually.
I
now.
am the walrus. Deal with it.
So,
So I think
I mean,
it's.
I
I
guess-
don't know how rural this area is. I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't know how rural this area is. If they were saying it was a 6 foot tall, hairy bipedal kind of creature, I'd be like, maybe it could have been migrating.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
Right.
making its way around the Great Lakes, doing the things it does. But 11
Making
feet
its way.
tall.
it's like it's
That's
got,
absurd.
No,
it's
I
on
know.
like a wine
That's the-
trail, yeah.
But why did it live in a cemetery in Riverside,
Well, and
Ohio?
It said that it was chased from the sewers.
Well, they destroyed the whole thing,
So
apparently.
it was living in the sewers, which, let me tell you, I
Living
know a thing or two
alive.
about sewers. Not the place you want to fucking live.
Yeah, no, you do.
But food source wise,
Probably
not
a lot of
bad.
chow.
You could probably get some pretty
and,
decent.
and the
things to
Sasquatch
eat.
does not mind stinking. They,
No,
they're,
I would
they're-
assume
they
not.
legendarily
Yeah.
rub like carcasses on them to hide their scent. I mean, there's a lot of rumors about them wanting to be stinky sons of bitches.
Oh, it's gross.
All right, to blend in,
They could be
to
grubs,
not stick
yeah.
out.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. This is a Bigfoot. I don't know how an 11-foot Bigfoot could live here.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't understand the first one. The UFO, I think, wants to make it make all sense, but it really all this adds is
No.
another variable.
Yeah, no,
into-
it's
like
right,
a
right.
jambalaya of
It's
paranormal cryptozoological
it's a
mayhem.
goddamn trifecta of nonsense. It's like we got a UFO, we got an armless thing in here, and then we got a Sasquatch. What's next?
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like Super Squad Force Delta. Let's go. Yeah.
There's no real answer here.
No,
there's not an option.
There isn't.
But it is fascinating.
There's nothing. No,
and
it's
Ohio is
fascinating,
again proving itself to be a hotbed.
We are
of
not that far from
paranormal activity.
Ohio, really. We should go.
I lived in Ohio for a short
No,
time.
you did.
Cleveland's only
Yeah.
like 5 hours ish.
If I'm not mistaken, the last the government knows about you was when you were in Ohio.
Let's keep it that way. Boom.
Off the grid. All right, so cool. There you
Man.
have it. Thank you for joining us for this episode. It's been really fun.
Yeah, it is.
This one is
this
fun.
one's
This one
fun.
especially
It's
has
a
been-
giant pickle with flippers and big green eyes.
Yeah, and you just get you get the trifecta of nonsense, and that's what makes this stuff fun to talk about.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So
love
there
it.
you have it. Send us your thoughts and ideas of what you think these things could possibly be. Be sure to leave a rating and review for the podcast on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. Hit us up on social media. The links for our social media accounts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram are going to be in the show notes of this episode. And hey, thanks for everyone for all your support.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're a couple, I want to say we're probably about 6 to 8 weeks now probably into doing this show. And it's been, so far,
Love it.
the reception's been awesome. We've had such a good time talking to all the listeners and everything on Twitter and Facebook. So thank you all, and we talking to you soon.
Later.
Absitronically.
See ya. The Walrus.
Why do you do the whisper thing?
Damn.